puddles. Isn't it wonderful? My home.
Easily as Euro dance. That's what we call it.
Let me tell you something real quick, innit? Are you ready to party in that? This is all a bit mad. Make some noise. Are you ready for that? Alright, let me give you this tune. Are you ready to party? It's a Saturday night.
Blowing tonight, trust me. Blowing up inside. Whole lines are blowing tonight, trust me. Blowing up inside. Whole lines are blowing tonight, trust me. Blowing up inside. Whole lines are blowing tonight, trust me. Blowing up inside. Whole lines are blowing tonight, trust me. Blowing up inside. Whole lines are blowing tonight, trust me. Blowing up inside. Whole lines are blowing tonight, trust me. Blowing up inside. Whole lines are blowing tonight, trust me. Blowing up inside. Whole lines are blowing tonight, trust me. Blowing up inside. Whole lines are blowing tonight, trust me. Blowing up inside. Giving out the number one more time, trust me. Taking some cool suit, trust me. Whole lines are blowing tonight, trust me.
Hey everyone, quick announcement. We're going to be reconnected real quick so we can get going. And don't worry about it. It's totally normal. And we'll see you in a sec.
Phone lines are blowing tonight, trust me. Blowing up inside, giving up the...
This is the last one from me. You're listening to Take Note Radio.
Phone lines are blowing tonight, trust me.
I'm Emerald. And I'm about to welcome you to my first guest.
Blowing up inside, giving up the...
His name's Bailey Ibbs. And he's standing right next to me. How's it going, Bailey? Here he is. How you doing, Bailey?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm feeling good. 2021's been kicked off to a good start. Last year was really good, so I'm just trying to build on that. But things are looking good. Yeah.
Good. Well, ironically, since 2020's been been, let's be honest, it's been a terrible year. It's been a terrible year. But some positives have come from this year. It's meant a lot of producers can spend a lot more time producing, which often it's hard to find the time for, to have that space for that creativity. And 2020 has been quite a fruitful year for you in terms of
Just wanted
productions.
to make a
Can you
quick
tell me
announcement.
some of your 2020
You're gonna be
highlights?
doing
that you've
a
had?
reload in a moment. and the video
So
will be
I would
reloading
say
as well as
first off.
And like I said, we'll be reloading. All right, we're back. And like I said, we've reloaded. All right, sit tight and we'll get ready in just a moment.
Hi, it's Emerald, and today I'm joined by the lovely Helena Starr and Alisha to have a chat with me about International Women's Day and being a woman in music. Hi Helena, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good, thank you. Alisha, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, thanks for joining me today on my sofa.
Pleasure.
On my fantastic house that I live in.
Beautiful sofa.
That I wish I lived in. Let's take it back to the very beginning of both of your careers. I want to ask you when the moment was when you decided or knew that you wanted to be a DJ. Alisha, why don't you start?
I think for me, it was more just going to clubs when I was 18 years old, you know. But just that feeling, I think, dancing, I thought, yeah, that's pretty cool. I think I'd like to do that. So I think it was the first moment I went to clubs for me personally. So, yeah, I just knew from then it was something I wanted to do.
Nice. And what about you, Helena?
The moment I knew I wanted to be a DJ, I guess, well, I've been doing radio since I was 16 and it always been revolved around electronic music. And there came a time when I was like, cool, let me learn how to actually mix the tracks together because my radio show was sounding a little bit janky. And then I think once I just started getting into it, I don't know if I have like a defining moment, but it was just kind of like, I guess, building up my own confidence and I'd always wanted to be within like TV or radio from quite a young age. So I don't know. I didn't go to university and for me, that was a big risk. That was me, and actually I have to big up my mum for listening to me and recognising that that wasn't the path for me. I moved to London when I was 18 with the hopes of becoming a DJ and a radio presenter. So that was a huge risk, especially at such a young age, because I didn't really know anyone in London. And I was just like, I had like a draw towards the space and to the industry.
Representation is something that's so important and is something that we're still working on, especially people from the BAME community specifically, but also as women. It's only kind of now that we're seeing these role models and people that we can actually put ourselves in the same position as. At that time, for both of you, was there anyone in particular that you thought, that's a really inspiring person, I want to be in that position? Someone who you really looked up to, or even someone who you were working with at that time who was maybe a mentor for you? Anyone in particular?
Do you know what? I think it's because when I was going to all these different clubs and raving experiences and, you know, I was going to obviously like the Paradises, so like the Jamie Jones stuff for me, and I think it's more because they have like a brand behind them and it's something that I would love to do in the future. So for me, just seeing all these, you know, superstar DJs, as I'd like to call them at the time, like just seeing what they do and they love it. So for me, looking up to them, and I was thinking maybe one day I could get to that position or even close, and I think I'd be happy. So yeah, just, you know, everyone just doing their thing really. For me, there's not like one person. I think just respecting every DJ, every artist that I've ever watched, just seeing them create a vibe on the dance floor, because it certainly had me dancing and smiling away. So for me, yeah, definitely.
We're really only the second generation of professional DJs.
I know, for
to
sure.
be in the media. Right?
Yeah.
How crazy is
I
that?
know.
We're only the second generation.
Yeah.
The only second ones to do it, really, if you think about it, being in the media and being in the public eye. What about you, Helena? Anyone that you particularly looked up to at that time?
Yeah, I feel like if you were in radio, I'm sure you could probably agree with this, in the past 10 years, seeing Annie Mac from a young age,
yeah,
and looking at a woman who was just doing her thing, being so smooth and so cool on radio. Like when I started listening to her, I think I was 14 or 15, and I was like, oh, cool, I can see myself in that position. Like I got to know her through listening to her in my kitchen, in the car, and I was like, that's something I want to emulate one day and have that kind of personability that she just oozes. And yeah, so from that young age, I was like, wow, that's so cool to see someone doing that and at the top of her game. And now, still at the top of her game, you know?
For sure.
So that was super inspiring for me.
I think she's someone that a lot of young radio wannabes have in common, as we were back then when we were teenagers, and we really thought, oh, Annie is like the woman. She's the woman, and she still is, like you say, completely. And it's funny what you say about feeling like you know them when they come through those radio airwaves. You get so familiar with a radio DJ and a personality that inspires you. You feel like you know that person.
we're in a time where we are that second wave of DJs. So seeing so many women coming up, I mean, for me, it's just the best feeling. That kind of camaraderie is incredible. So being at a station like Foundation FM, where you walk in and the energy it's like nothing else I've ever experienced, and it's just incredible. Walking in, all the women there are backing each other, and it's not necessarily like, oh, I feel like I have to align with women. Well, I do, but it just comes quite naturally, and the thought of like bringing up people around me is such a wonderful thing.
Alisha, you've been doing this for about 5 years now, is that right?
Yeah, 5.5 years, I think.
Have there been any unexpected moments in your career so far? Anything you're like, that was mad, or anything that you think is something that you're so proud of?
For me, personally, it was leaving my job, I think, because at the start, I genuinely didn't think, when I was pretending to mix in my bedroom to thousands of people, I thought, this is never going to happen. And, you know, I think it's everyone's, you know, when they're in their dream job, if they could do that full time and do something that they love. So I only left my job, July 2019, before the pandemic.
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah,
how
but-
did you find that shift? Because obviously you've left a stable finance, right?
Yeah.
You've left a position of financial stability.
Yeah.
And then obviously COVID was waiting around the corner for you.
Yeah.
So how did you navigate that?
Do you know what? It was still, to this day, the best decision I've ever made, because, you know, I've got a very good team around me, and, you know, I did it properly with leaving my job, you know, and I made sure I was, you know, mentally just there. You know, when you're ready to leave, I was like, I don't want to leave too soon. But yeah, so I had the back end of 2019, and I was very, very busy, and then obviously this hit. But, you know, it's just one of them. You've got to take it as a blessing in disguise, because I wouldn't have done some of the things this, you know, lockdown period that I probably wouldn't have done if we didn't have it. So it's just adjusting, isn't it? There's no point being negative about it. We just need to adjust and overcome it.
What does success look like to both of you? Because success is measured differently by different people, and it looks different to different people as well. But what does success look like to the two of you? Are there any milestones you've set that you might have already smashed? Or are there any particular milestones in mind that you're like, until I've done that, I don't feel like I've had any success?
I feel like it changes all the time, you know? Like, my idea of success changes. I feel like for anyone, it's just to kind of be happy and just in a position where you're not having to, like, scrimp and save all the time, you know? Yeah. That's kind of, I just want to be comfortable, and I feel like, I mean, I feel so lucky to be in the industry that we are in, because I feel like the success all the time, just from being asked to play at venues or having people come on my radio shows. I think that's probably actually a big thing for me, is having some of my favourite artists in the whole world come and chat with me on my show and hearing what they have to say. Yeah.
It's nice when somebody says yes to you, isn't it? You're like, sweet, do you listen to my show?
Come on, cool.
Am I cool? No. Alisha, what about you?
I think I can genuinely, agree, because, as you said, we're lucky enough to kind of wake up every day and do something that we love, you know? Like, just, you know, making music, radio show, and just playing gigs to people and making other people happy. So I think it genuinely, success is to be happy within your career, within your life. And I think that's so important, because what's the point in doing a career that you don't love and you're not happy in, you know?
So looking beyond where we are now, looking into the future, what can we do to make the industry better for the women who are to come after us? How can we give them some valuable advice? What valuable advice can we give them if they're just starting to break through or just starting out at the very beginning right now? Obviously, life has been turned upside down on its head, and the music industry has suffered probably the most out of every industry. So what advice would you like to give to a young woman who might be watching this right now, who's considering starting off in this period?
I mean, I feel like if you're wanting to get involved in this industry, it's because you have a deep love for music. So I think always keep that in mind, you know? Like you said, there can be times like now where it feels like you're not going to be able to perform or get through or get into the industry. But actually, if you keep the goal and the roots of it in mind, I do think that helps so much. If ever I'm feeling like rubbish or low. I'm just like, why am I doing this? Actually, like reminding myself what this is for. So I think that's definitely something to keep in mind. Yeah.
For me, I think some people think there's a rush with this industry. It's it's a marathon, I'd like to call it. So yeah, just stay patient, just keep working, keep grafting. And there is genuinely no rush at all. And just don't dwell on, you know, some people get no's, even the biggest, you know, artists in the world get no's from labels, from, you know, gigs or whatever. Just don't dwell on it, just be positive, move forward. And it just, I think for me, and probably for you both as well, it just makes you work harder if you get a no. And then it makes you bounce back even harder. So I think, yeah, don't rush. And don't dwell.
I've got another one too.
Go on.
Don't focus on what other people are doing, because what other people are doing and look amazing, but like you said, you're on your own path, so you're going to get there. If you're watching what other people are doing, you're focusing too much on what they're doing instead of focusing on what you can be doing for your own journey. So
It definitely slows you down, doesn't it? If you watch other people. I've 100% done it. Yeah.
I do it every day. I do it every day. Every day. Someone once said to me, comparison kills creativity.
Amen.
If you want a fun phrase to remember, a nice mantra, comparison kills creativity. So the more you compare yourself, the less you're going to create yourself. I want to talk about this campaign that you fronted recently as well with Jaguar. And you spoke about how the MOBO Awards needs electronic music categories. I did have an electronic music category, one, if I'm correct. I think it was one category, Goldie won it, and now it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, so it did in like it was in 1996, I think, that Goldie won the award. So there was an idea that, okay, yeah, we understand and we recognise that the origins of house and techno are black. I mean, that's what MOBO is, music of black origin. And I feel like in the past 20 years or so, we've seen a massive decline in the understanding and the knowledge of that. And I think why it's so important is just that it's facts, and I feel like having a space to really celebrate that is nothing but good. You know, there are so many incredible black artists that deserve their props. You know, and I think the MOBOs is a great place to showcase that, along with other award ceremonies. So it was like we should have this. We want to celebrate this.
We had this conversation, didn't we, in the DMs, because all the categories and all the nominations came out, and it just felt a little bit like we're all left out. Yeah. And it doesn't feel like there's any belonging. If you're black and you work in electronic music, there's not really. I mean, there are some awards. There are some award shows which are amazing, and big up that representation. So thank you for everybody who does that work. But in something so huge and prolific as MOBOs, music of black origin, it doesn't feel right.
It doesn't feel right, and it's like, actually, we just need that recognition. Like, we could list off so many people, so it's not like there's lack of. So I think I'm really intrigued to see what happens next year, but I just really think it's time, you know? It's time. I think if the last year has shown us anything, that the whole industry needs a bit of a shake-up, you know? And I think having open dialogue and conversations like we are having now, being able to write pieces like that and put them onto mix mags, like front cover, you know, like they're quite big changes. I don't think we've seen that much like dialogue in the past like 10, 15 years that have been so widely listened to, you know. So I think it is about keeping conversation going, starting grassroots like organisations, and also supporting them, you know. I think this is it's a worldwide conversation on many different aspects, not just within dance music. But I'm excited to be of that generation and of those people who are there pushing for it and starting for it. Techno is black, guys. That's it.
I'm going to put you on the spot right now.
Go on.
If you could work with any producer, should we say dead or alive? No, I think we should say alive. If you could work with any producer in the world, going forward, so alive, who would it be? And why?
Do you know what? There's a couple. For me, a woman in the industry would be, I think, just Peggy Goo for me. Just because I think she's just so fun. With her, like in the studio, I think I'd just make something out of my comfort zone. So I think with her direction and my direction, it would just be something that I've never made, you know, before. And it's always good to explore different sounds, stuff like that. And then just for a bit of fun and energy, I think Martinez Brothers for me, because they're just always loud. They're just sick guys, aren't they? So I think I just have so much fun and just, we'll just bounce off each other. So
Wicked. Finally, what is your biggest career ambition? What is the pinnacle for you? If you dream big, tell me at the end of the rainbow, what do you want to be there? If it's like a pinch me moment, a pinch yourself moment, what is the pinnacle for both of you?
this house.
I think again with like success and stuff, it changes so much. But one thing that I just know, and I can see it. I want to own my own club one day. That is an inclusive, fun space that also has like a little side restaurant in there as well. But
Do it up chefs.
Yeah. And then you go to the club.
Yeah.
Like it's
set times in the
exactly on the menu.
Yes.
That's a good idea, you know.
It's hard. It's funny when you say that. It's like, what's your like biggest ambition and dream? Like you said, I'm kind of like I'm in it at the moment. It's happening. That's why it does change, and that's why I'm like own a club because why not?
Yes, please.
Own all of them.
Yeah, man, it's true. We should count our lucky stars. We should just also pat ourselves on the back for all the hard work we've done. It's not just luck. It's not just luck. But until I have a house like this, then I'm not happy. Well, lastly, happy International Women's Day.
Happy International Women's Day.
Isn't it great to be a woman?
Bloody is.
It's fantastic. And thank you so much for chatting to me today. I hope you both have a lovely day, and I hope everyone watching can take something from this. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Puddles. Isn't it wonderful? My home.
Easily as Eurodance. That's the way we call it.
And it's like, actually, we just need that recognition. Like, I know we could list off so many people, so it's not like there's lack of. So I think
I'm really intrigued to see what happens next year, but I just really think it's time, you know? It's time. I think if the last year has shown us anything, that the whole industry needs a bit of a shake up, you know? And I think having open dialogue and conversations like we are having now, being able to write pieces like that and put them onto mix mags, like front cover, you know? Like they're quite big changes. I don't think we've seen that much like dialogue in the past like 10, 15 years that have been so widely listened to, you know? So I think it is about keeping conversation going, starting grassroots like organisations, and also supporting them, you know? I think this is it's a worldwide conversation on many different aspects, not just within dance music. But I'm excited to be of that generation and of those people who are there pushing for it and starting for it. Tenor is black, guys. That's it.
I'm going to put you on the spot right now.
Go on.
If you could work with any producer, should we say dead or alive? No, I think we should say alive. If you could work with any producer in the world, going forward, so alive, who would it be and why?
Do you know what? There's a couple. For me, a woman in the industry would be, I think, just Peggy Goo for me. Just because I think she's just so fun. With her, like in the studio, I think I'd just make something out of my comfort zone. So I think with her direction and my direction, it would just be something that I've never made, you know, before. And it's always good to explore different sounds, stuff like that. And then just for a bit of fun and energy, I think Martinez Brothers for me, because they're just always loud. They're just sick guys, aren't they? So I think I'll just have so much fun and just, we'll just bounce off each other. So
wicked. Finally, what is your biggest career ambition? What is the pinnacle for you? If you dream big, tell me at the end of the rainbow, what do you want to be there? If it's like a pinch me moment, a pinch yourself moment, what is the pinnacle for both of you?
This house.
I think again with like success and stuff, it changes so much. But one thing that I just know, and I can see it. I want to own my own club one day. That is an inclusive, fun space that also has like a little side restaurant in there as well. But
Do it up chefs.
Yeah.
And then the club.
Like it's set times in the
kitchen. On the menu.
Yes.
That's a good idea, you know.
It's hard. It's funny when you say that. It's like, what's your like biggest ambition and dream? Like you said, I'm kind of like I'm in it at the moment. Now. It's happening. That's why it does change, and that's why I'm like own a club. Cause
why not?
Yes, please.
Own all of them.
Yeah, man, it's true. We should count our lucky stars. We should just also pat ourselves on the back for all the hard work we've done. It's not just luck. It's not just luck. But until I have a house like this, then I'm not happy. Well, lastly, happy International Women's Day.
Happy International Women's Day.
Isn't it great to be a woman?
Bloody is.
It's fantastic. And thank you so much for chatting to me today. I hope you both have a lovely day, and I hope everyone watching can take something from this. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. Hello and welcome to Take Note TV. I'm Emerald, and joining me today we have the legendary and the lovely Skream.
Hello, my love, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
Good.
I feel like I was a kid last time I saw you.
Was it, I can't figure out whether it's 2 or 3 years ago. It must have been 3.
I think it was 4.
4.
Just based on how much I feel like I was a kid at that time, but it could have been 3 years ago.
You haven't changed a thing.
Oh, thank you, apart from my hair colour. So you've been raving since you were 14, 15 years old, and you've been playing since you were 16?
Playing since I was 16. Well, I suppose that's not legal, is it? I did do some gigs in clubs around that time. I've DJed in like house parties and whatever, and social halls or churches or whatever since I was about 12, 13. But yeah, been outbound for a bit.
Been about?
Yeah.
Been about.
The first gigs were Croydon. I didn't even make the show. I got arrested outside. Not my fault. But the first early shows were like they were just mad. It was the thing, because I was doing most of them with Benga. It was still like we still treated it the way that we did house parties or last minute arrivals to clubs where we just took over. So it was, I don't know, they didn't really impact my life because when you're with your mate and with all your mates and it's just turning up, everyone's pure hyping it, but it was no difference to just being in someone's house. So it was a really exciting time because you get the stress of just about to leave school. Everyone's nagging at you saying that it's not possible to do what you want to do. There weren't really big money then in the area of music. Like, well, you had certain superstar DJs, but it was a very small, select few. But weren't even aiming to get to there. It weren't like I go to mum and dad like, here's a picture of Cole Cox, like I want to be like him or whatnot. It was just, no, I just want to get out and play tunes.
Because it's like the first generation of DJs, right?
But also it was, for us, it was the first proper generation of bedroom producers. And that was, you didn't hear of kids making tunes in their bedroom. It was like you had the big studio and everyone was a lot older than us. So it was, it all sort of merged into one. But I thought I was famous, like not famous, but I was like, yeah, I've nailed it, I've made it. I'm going to play at the club on the weekend. Like first gig ever, like proper paid, like 50 quid or whatever, somewhere.
Big bucks.
It was like, I was like, yeah, fuck that. Like I was sure that I'd made it then.
How was school life for you at that time? Because you were saying you weren't really going to school and you had to wait for your parents to go out.
They didn't particularly want me I wasn't a bad kid, but I questioned everything and just didn't particularly enjoy it because you've got to bear in mind, when I started, it's very alien. You don't really know what crew. Nobody from my primary school went to my secondary school, so it's a whole new start. And I played football, which sort of keeps you in with the people who play football, but then you don't know about them outside of football, and you don't really know what your stance on life is, especially at like 11, 12. And like everyone seems to know what they want to do, which I really didn't. And sort of, my brother was a DJ, and then to that time you get behind the decks, like ways to fucking ruin his records. Didn't know what I was doing with a needle and that. But you just sort of, you get to the point where you know, and then by the time, I think I was about 14, I can't ever remember, I always say a different age, but when I see a friend making music on Music 2000, I was like, yeah, is it that easy? Sort of thing. But the stuff at school, I was just like, I found it really easy not going. It was like, I used to skip school before the infamous truant officers would be about, and they'd scare you that there's truant officers everywhere and they'll take you back to school. But like, there was a point I used to get suspended a lot. But then once it happens once, it's like, it's like when you're out and you have a piss, then you got to piss all night. It was after that, after I got one suspension, it just was like dominoes. But it was never for nothing bad. It was never for nothing like horrible to anyone or like any that sort of side of bullying or fighting or anything like that. It was just sort of constantly questioning authority, I guess. Because I always thought, you always feel like you're being lied to as a kid. Because it's like, this is the most important thing of your life. This is the most important thing. And I'm quite glad I question it now, because fucking, depending on where you want to go in life, like they are lying to you to a degree. So like that first exam weren't the most important thing. And I was be like...
No one cares about what you got in GCSEs.
Well, yeah, no, but but pre-GCSEs, like everything leading up, and it's like the stress you're going through, you go through socially at school, it's like, that's the be-all and end-all. You're like, you're so stressed as a kid. Well, I was to a degree, because you're like, I don't know, it's like so socially based, and you're like...
What's before your GCSEs? Your SATs?
Get SAT, but then you have one before in I don't know if you do it anymore, because everyone I talk to, they've got a clue. I'm talking about the cat skills. You had a thing called cat skills, which was like a pre-exam thing, getting you ready for secondary, and it was always just felt like bollocks. The amount of like, they'd be so hard on you about it.
Unnecessary stress.
Yeah, and it was just like, I'm just like...
Playground monitor, just remember.
Yeah.
But like, what the phrase is.
No one I knew who was successful when I was a kid, that older generation was via anything that they learnt from school, sort of thing. Either entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs, I'd say. But you know what I mean? Like it was all the successful people around me that live really lavish lifestyles. It weren't because of that.
It wasn't because they were sitting down acing their exams.
And it was, I don't know, they sort of, the school sort of, like, they were just pain in the arse with, really. I didn't do them that much grief, do you know what I mean? They tried to kick me out once. My mum's a really, really good solicitor. And they had the Board of Governors come in. And she basically, I don't know what she said to them, but she sent me back to my lesson. Because they was asking me to leave on this day. And she said, get back to your lesson. And all the teachers were like, what? And then I don't know what she said to them in that meeting. But I never got suspended again.
She saved the day. Well done, Mum.
Yeah.
And people associate you a lot with Forward.
Yeah.
What is it that makes Forward so special?
Sarah Lockhart, I think, obviously, you know. Sarah was... Sarah was the catalyst. Sarah and Neil Jaloffi was who started Forward. But I think that special time is because I think what was happening, it was like just a small crew of people. Kids, well, me and Benga were kids, but it was like, you finally had somewhere to play these tunes that you're working on all day, every day, and what became a home, like, it was you was there once a week. I couldn't go to the first Forward, my mum wouldn't let me. And it was the second one, so once a month on a Tuesday originally, or Wednesday, or maybe Thursday, I can't remember, but it was a weekday. And I was like, I remember saying to my mum, can I go? And she's like, no, you've got school in the morning. And you're like, right. Everyone else is going. She's like, I don't care. And then the next time my brother had to keep an eye on us. So you're like, but it was something magical was happening. Like the Velvet Rooms, when it started at Velvet Rooms, R.I.P. Velvet Rooms, it was but it was just special. The way we were running, it was like we went up there in a limo because it was cheaper than cabs for everyone.
No way.
And like just music, everything was sort of changing. Like the garage was coming to an end because of the police and everything. And the Velvet Rooms especially really felt like a kid in there. Although it was tiny, but you felt like didn't want to leave your mates, not because it was rough or anything, because it was just something brand new being out. And it was still very much a garage crowd. Still, the music was still very much garage, and so we was all garage kids. And I don't know, it's just Forward. I grew up in there. I grew up in front of everyone in there. It was just magical, really. And then when it moved to Plastic People, it was like even a more suitable home because you had Ade who owned Plastic People and the sound system, everything. It was like it felt like it was made for us. But then little did I know at that time that Plastic People was cool as fuck anyway. You had CDR on the Sunday, I think it was, and it was just a vibe, and we was allowed to feel like we owned the gaff when we was in there, whether he was playing or not. It was just really good times that I don't think I don't know.
It sounds like there was a big community spirit.
It was 100% because it was all of us rolling together from a little record shop in Croydon, and people like our elders were all together, like say Artwork and John who owned the shop, and my brother, and it was just a load of mates that ultimately none of us were friends outside of the record shop. So we all met in there, and it was like this thing. It's just hard to put your finger on why it was so special. It was just it's magical, really.
It just was. Do you reckon that community spirit and having those as your new peers inspired you to push your own boundaries, musically and maybe socially?
Yeah, you do, because you don't realise at the time, but it's people who are into music. And that sounds so stupid. Like, obviously, that's why they're all in the record shop, but it's your local hub for creativity. Like, so it wasn't just one sort of music in there. So it's like, everyone's got just other tastes in music. You start meeting more people, and then you start meeting people who you've got taste in outside of what you're doing, like musically. And it's like when I met Loafer, I went to his house because I knew he was into jungle because he was really a big fan of my brother. And like, I remember the first time we was meant to do a studio session, we sat there listening to like old metalheads and stuff, and it's like, I don't know, it's like, it opened everything up socially, like meeting new people as well. That's a mad thing as well, meeting new friends after school. Like after school's over, like after you've left school, because that's where you sort of you make your friends for life in your head. So then and meeting people there, it was just for the first time meeting so many people you got something in common with. That was what opened everything up, because I was one of one other boy who said he was a DJ at my school, but he definitely weren't. Or was into that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you're right. Like, I think a lot of people can relate to that. I can relate to that. I didn't really. My friends from school, I'm maybe friends with one or two of them now, but we were so different, and I didn't realise we were so different. I realised what I was into.
Yeah. Because you're not forced together. But you
kind of are.
You got to pick the best of a bad bunch.
Exactly.
But no, I'm only like. It's been probably in the last 5 years I've realised, going into the way my life turned after leaving school, where getting to travel and stuff, and seeing the world, it makes you very separate. Like where I grew up, everyone was area based and had aspirations of literally moving up the road. Do you know what I mean? To like an area that's classed as having more money, and that's what they see as success. So like when I'm travelling and everything, people used to take the piss out of me for it. And I'm like, you're cool, you're still sitting in the same pub. Like, do you know what I mean?
Your mark of success is different from that.
Yeah. So I think that you don't realise that at the time, because you're all doing the same thing, I guess. I don't know.
You're speaking of travelling, not very far, but let's talk about Glasgow.
Yeah.
Glasgow, the people love you in Glasgow, the Scots love you, and I'm guessing that you love Glasgow.
A lot of people think my entrance to Glasgow is via Jack Mercer, and it's actually not. I was playing up, I used to do the Arches and stuff when I was playing dubstep, and I used to do, I can't remember where the venue was. I think it was underneath a pub. It was the most ghetto layout ever. So dusty, we all come out with mud on us, because it was basically in a cellar. That was a fucking mental gig. It had a big bowl of Bucky Punch on the table, just open to anyone. Like, it was just to help yourself. But I just read it like, it's a mad thing in Glasgow. You go, like, you see when you end up at an after party, everyone knows tunes. Everyone's got a really high bar of quality when it comes to music that you don't really find anywhere else.
Yeah.
Like everyone, just some random kid in the corner will put something on you. You go.
That's the beautiful thing about an afters, is you get world-class DJs playing with random little kid music heads.
I'm talking from phones here. There weren't many places I went at the time where there was decks in the gaff. It was like it was a ox lead, but just saying, like, everyone's just on it and in tune, and I've found so many songs via Glasgow, but then also my relationship with Jack, Jasper, just when I started playing. Well, I met Jack when I was playing, so I was still playing dubstep. We met in afters. It's just for party, for chat. That's the other thing, the banter. In any pub, you go into any pub in Scotland, it's just fucking fun, like good laugh. Like you laugh, I leave just my stomach hurting, like fuck, but
you obviously love them.
there's
right?
a special thing. I've
Scots.
never felt the love anywhere in the world. At any point with dubstep, at any point just touring anywhere, I've never felt like the electricity. And when I go and do a show, they're always a special one. I've never had one where it's like, oh, that was all right. Like no matter. And they're not having it. Like I'm hitting the ceiling harder than the crowd are when I'm in a sub club. It's like
it's a low ceiling.
It is. Yeah. I've got a bit under my stairs.
You got a bit.
I took a bit of the old ceiling. Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently, I took a picture of it and posted it online. Everyone's going, "That's full of asbestos." I was like,
move that way from the kids area.
Yeah. Well, no, it's under the stairs. I've just sort of left it there and I forgot about it. But it's. Yeah, I think that's just what it is, and I think they see the amount of time I spend up there. When I'm there, people know, and it's just. I don't know. I don't remember the point it happened where it was. I just got so much love there, and then, like the last time I was up there, I was doing more and more cities each time, and it doesn't change the love. So it's really appreciated. Like it's not like it's the highlight of the year when I do my stint, when I do my run of Scotland.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can see when you talk about it how special it is to you. It's a nice thing to see. So big up the Scots. These spaces like Sub Club, Glasgow, and Forward, London, all these spaces that you've grown from and that you've have influenced, obviously, you as a DJ. Do you think they've influenced you as a producer as well and your transition through different genres?
Look, it's definitely a time where I've made tunes like. I've got a song called A Little Club on Jamaica Street that I made to play there at Sub Club, which is on Jamaica Street. But that was, put everything in it that I thought would tear it upside down in there. But I think when going from the transition from playing dubstep to everything else, basically, it was sort of a point of not like I was in a completely transitional stage, and I think I've spent more time on doing stuff that I wanted to do rather than expected. So I think it wasn't necessarily the clubs; it was more just feeling jumbled for the first time, being like I'm not particularly happy right now, like, and I'm not meant to feel like that because I've chose to do something where I make the fucking decision. So. I wouldn't necessarily say the clubs, like they do more now. Once you're set, you've got your feet in, then like, I'll definitely make a song for Amnesia, like Ibiza or whatever, like where playing, like from being a raver though, like going out, like I've been a raver in all of these clubs at some point, whether I was meant to be or not. Like there's a vibe, you pick up a vibe of a room, and then you're always going to try and match it. It's always like a challenge.
So you say it was more of a personal transition?
100%, yeah.
We're on pause at the moment, obviously, and it's been a big old pause, and it's been a huge impact on the music industry. It's been a
pain in the arse.
It's been a massive pain in the arse for every industry, but the music industry especially, because nightlife is obviously something that can't coexist with a pandemic. And it's digital. Everything's digital right now for DJing and for music. Everything is streaming, and that can be a negative thing, and it can also be a positive thing. So, Ollie, you've also always been known as a bit of a wild card. And that's why, and a no-filter character, which is why people love you. But it can also get you into trouble, and it has got you into trouble along the way. But how does it feel when you see negative comments come up on streams, especially when we are living in such a digital era at the moment, when negative comments come on your Twitter or on your streams? How do you process that?
Like Twitter, I don't like, depending on what time of the day it is, I I couldn't normally give a toss. But if I've had a couple of drinks and I'm up in the studio or whatever, you can dominate the session. You end up sitting there arguing. But it's because I'm quite an argumentative fuck anyway. So there's nothing that really gets me down, really, because I've been about forever in music, and I grew up in the forum era where you're in harm's way all the time. Like there's nothing stopping it. So it don't really bother us. There's things that get to you. Some people would say some horrific things, like nasty. I grew up in pubs, so I can deal with banter or someone digging you out because it's just part of that culture. But now it's like it can avalanche into something completely different in the course of seconds.
There's different levels to it.
It's insane. Like it really does. Like the stream thing. When I haven't really had it. I've been loads of people on the last Party Boy stream. I don't have been calling me fat, but it's been fucking stuck in the house for over a year. So what do they think I've been doing?
I just wonder what they look like.
Yeah, that's it. That's the whole thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that don't really bother me. It's just like if something's playing in your head already and someone points it out, like not necessarily. I'm not talking about putting weight on, but I'm talking if you wasn't, say you done a show and you weren't 100%. You know when it's not, you ain't played your best show. Like sometimes them little things, it could just be one tweet by someone who's got 4 followers, but it's like,
yeah. And I find for me, the negative comments are the ones that stick in my head. There could be 100 positive comments on there, but one person has taken it on themselves to be an arsehole.
Yeah.
And that resonates over and over again in your head.
You know, people say don't go on social media. It's like, I've said this from the start of the Twitters and whatever. Imagine someone is speaking about you in the next room that you're in, and you can't, and like you're going to tell me you're not going to listen if you know they're talking about it. And I've always felt a bit like that because you can't.
That's such a good analogy.
It's always good. It's always good and well saying just don't look. But it's like,
how can you not?
You need to know what's happening to a degree, especially now where everything's. How many comments have you got and how many likes have you got and whatnot? You need to keep an eye on stuff, and it's like this is more popular than this is more negative than this, and this. So it's impossible to stay out of it. You can pay someone to do it for you, but you're still going to look. That is because you want to know.
100%. That analogy of someone else talking about you in the other room is really.
It was the first way when there was a point when I was on the dubstep forums and stuff. Well, the dubstep forum, it would be like. I'd be replying in that, like I'd started using it when it started, and it was very much I was on a personal level with all the users, like to a degree. Like I'd just speak to people, like put random comments, and they'd be like, "Fuck, I can't believe Skream's in here." But that was where I was from. Do you know what I mean? So, and that's just how I see it. Then when my brother used to go, "Oh, don't get annoyed about it." I'm like, "Why the fuck would you not get annoyed about it?" Then I was a bit more fiery then. Like, I'm a bit more mellowed out. Everyone would disagree, but like it's you just can't help it.
Ollie, you're a father.
I am.
You are a father. You got a couple of kids now.
A few, yeah.
One of them's how many kids you got?
Oh, 3.
You got 3 kids. One of them's 10 years old.
Yeah.
And you must be trying to educate your 10-year-old on the world that you've brought him into right now. Is he interested in music? And if he did develop a passion for a career in music, then what advice would you want him to have from you?
He's very timid. Like, he's not like me when I was his age, so he's like, I'd hate the thought of anything like getting had over or just being around cunts, basically. And you do, like, I've been about for quite a few different stages of A&Rs, people, and the way people are. Like, I remember, like, when I was 14, 15, or say 15, 16, you had to get surrounded by A&Rs who thought they were clever, and I'd end up basically leaving them in a pickle. Yeah, but I was just advanced. I've been advanced socially since I was really little. Like, I've knocked about my dad used to take me over him. My dad's like a big legend, so like I was sort of made for all of this. And if I weren't, I could probably have seen me not being able to do it anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd hate him my son to go through like the going having the big bang and then everything after and the bits in between is you got to look at it as you have to look at it, you still love it. And unless I knew he loved it, I'd swear against it because you've got to risk. It has to be your life. There's no dipping your toe in. It's like you go for it full throttle, as I do with everything. Go full throttle, but it's like I'd love him to get into it. Like my daughter, it seemed like my 18-month-old daughter was the one she's obsessed with music because it's insane. Like we'll be shocking out in the back of the car, but then we'll stop if she don't like a song.
Really?
Yeah.
What does she like? What's her favourite genre?
Anything sort of 4/4 based. Baby Shark's at number 1 in the playlist. but like she loves coming in the studio, but I have to sort of keep her out because I smoke in it. The first thing that we sorted out when I sorted my studio was having a two-way system so I could smoke in it. Priorities, right? But she loves coming in and she's obsessed with A sharp key for some reason. I let her play, hit the keyboard and that. But Jesse's never really been, like my son's never really been like it. But we had a keyboard in the front room the other day, stops Olivia from drawing all over the walls, but he's playing random melodies and I was like, I said to my missus, I was like, he's hitting the right notes there. So then, I don't know, love him to get into it. Like, look, he's 9, so I'm hoping he doesn't want to be a gamer forever. Although, if he hits one of them like 40 million jackpots, the kids are getting in Fortnite, then yeah, crack on. But the advice would be, I think for everything, if you don't love it, don't do it.
That's good
but
advice.
I know that's not the option for most people in life.
For real. If you are young and excited by the idea of producing in particular, but you don't have access or money for a snazzy studio or a lot of expensive kit, what would you get started on? What advice would you give to somebody who really wants to produce but just can't afford to do it properly?
Well,
right
look,
now?
the thing is, I couldn't afford a studio. We were the start of crack software. Me and Benny had crack versions of Fruity Loops, and that's true. That is fact. Like, we wasn't aware of any other bedroom producer. I know like a few years later in life, Silky from Antisocial crew, he was making stuff around that time, but he's from West London, so we wouldn't have known about him. But it's doable. It's doable more than ever now to do without a budget. You can get multiple free software. Like now, it's mental. Like kids, like with YouTube, obviously, it's a free resource. Like I'm looking at how to iron properly on YouTube and that now.
YouTube University.
It's insane.
I've seen,
It's mental. If I
Lacey.
don't know anything, I go to YouTube.
Yeah, 100.
It's the best teacher I've ever had.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I've heard Steve Lacey from the internet has produced like a whole album's worth of tracks off GarageBand on his phone.
I know Erica Badu and there's a lot of Erica Badu. I can't remember any names now. I've just said there's loads of, but it's like GarageBand has been a one for a lot of people. I wouldn't touch it. Like, I only know what I use. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, GarageBand. So that comes with fucking hundreds of instruments and stuff. So it's easier than ever now to make music. But then what I've noticed with COVID is noticing that the amount of love.
Does anybody hear me?
I think
just testing
my one
the
thing with
microphone.
clubs not being there is people aren't writing music for the weekend anymore, and I think that's a really important thing.
I think it's a beautiful thing that the music that's come out of this pandemic has changed.
Like absolutely unreal.
Yeah, it's been beautiful, and it's also
quality
music
bar is high.
It's music for a different purpose.
Yeah.
So, Ollie, you do talks to GCSE students about the importance of business management as a DJ.
When I left school, everyone I knew went into building work and never questioned why getting a quarter of your money taken, and they don't really care because it's just you're not looking at it, you're looking at your outcome and whatever.
It's the way it is. And it's accepted.
I wasn't prepared to be as young as I was, to get as much money as I was for a certain period, and it's just not right that you're not aware. And most people don't question where the money goes. I can't remember who I approached it with, but it won't go anywhere. There should be a whole lesson on it.
It's not in the curriculum.
There should still be a whole lesson on it. Right, like business studies, when I was at school, was just sitting at a fucking shit computer, learning about a sleeping partner. Like, do you know what I mean? If you invest money into a company and not
like a silent partner.
Yeah.
Right.
But it was called, it was a sleeping partner. Yeah.
Maybe they changed the name.
Maybe
it
I've
sounds
got
confusing.
it wrong, but I've always had it as sleeping partner. But it's still not. I just don't get why.
Why they don't teach it?
It's more useful than sex studies. Really.
I mean, they're both probably as useful as each other.
Well, what I mean now, like,
Well,
you learn sex studies on your
YouTube.
phone any given time of the day.
And also, sexual health is something that's very prominent in our media culture now, but still no one's teaching us about how to calculate your tax. And I feel like, for me, I got an A-star GCSE maths, right? I can't do maths for shit now.
But what, like,
because they taught me stuff I don't use.
What noises? Like, you see, how many times a day do you use fractions?
Never a lot, actually. No, a lot.
Oh,
no?
do you? Yeah. No.
Yeah, but you must do. Like, say if you're calculating, like, your budget for the... I don't know,
yeah,
I don't do that.
No, you don't do it. I know you're talking shit. I was just thinking that. Like, I was going to get into it then, but...
How much was my zip card?
Yeah, but you don't mean like it's...
Yeah.
It's like, it's a massive priority. But as far as I'm aware, it's still not... Well, my son won't be learning it because he's 9, but I think they should be learning it from there.
So let's talk about the future. Production-wise, obviously it's been a weird time for all of us, but we were saying earlier how so much amazing music has come out of this period. Music for a different purpose. People are producing things they probably didn't have the time to before. And we're all in a totally different space in life, a different pace in life as well. What kind of music can we expect to hear from you in the future?
Just loads. I can't go into too much yet, can I? Well, look, Scott pointed out, it's like 200 tunes since the start of lockdown. Not all, that's not finished, mixed and everything, but there's more than that now. Like, there's an absurd amount of music gets made in my studio. The same way as it did before everything took off. And I'm not on the road constantly, which I'm gonna miss if, fingers crossed, everything goes back to normal. But I'm 100% gonna prioritise my time, because it's been quite special in the studio during lockdown. Last year I was doing a lot of pop remixes for stuff to go on the radio. I've already had a year's worth of releases from my Essential mix, which come out 1st of January last year. Then there's everything in between. There's a 140 project that's going to drop, like a dubstep project. Out the blue.
When was the last time you put 140 out?
I don't know. It's 9 years. 9 years. 109.
That's 9 years.
No, but it's like it ain't saying it's just sort of happened. I think writing been. I just thought it was the only ground I hadn't covered during lockdown to keep myself sane, let's say. Was the stuff that sort of made us, and I don't know, there was just a point, I don't know what the point was, where I was like, I always fucked about it was always sort of late nights. I thought, let me see if I can still do it. And that sounds stupid, but out of a sync with something so much, you sort of stop doing it, and forget your tricks that you did in the
It's like
production.
when you haven't driven a car in years,
Yeah.
and you get back and you're like, can I still do this?
Yeah, and it's the feeling I'm getting about DJing again. I know I can do it.
I think
It's
a
like
lot of
riding a
DJs
bike.
are feeling that
But
though.
it's going out and being able to read a room when you've not read a room. Hardly read a book, let alone a fucking room. But yeah, the 140 thing, it's been very enjoyable, and it sounds like me. But everything coming out, we've got the label starting, the I Feel label, which is I've still got the of Unsound Mind label, but that's purely going to be for up and coming artists and people who don't really get a break. But I Feel is going to be it's 100% my music with people who inspire us, or I'm massive fans of doing a remix. Remix is like an A and B tracks, which is good with more or less got the fucking year planned out for them.
Good.
So there's a lot going on. I'm just looking, this year I'm coming out of the traps absolutely firing. Like, I just want to be like, just absolutely nail it.
Wicked.
There's like, there's everything was DJ based really, which I loved and enjoyed, and it really honed in on my senses of crate digging. But I think production is my strongest point, and I think lockdown, I would never take lockdown away. That production and getting the family time, it made us realise how much I missed in when my son was younger, really, because it's all the stuff that happened with my daughter now. I'm like, I don't remember Jessie doing that, and like you're like, fuck, was I here? Like you feel like you see everything, but it's going to be hard to get back on the road full time. Well, hopefully, it's fucking fingers crossed. I'll probably take it to it like a duck to water, but it's made you learn a lot over the last year and a bit.
Yeah.
I think about yourself. I think about people around you. I think just home life, everything. So it puts everything into a bit of perspective, doesn't it?
It's going to be a big transition. Again, like the reverse transition. Let's talk about gaming and VR. Because we're here in honour of TDV, Tobacco Docs Virtual, and both you and I are playing in this virtual club that's probably essentially our first gig of 2021, which is going to be in a virtual realm. Virtual reality and gaming has been something that's been somewhat of a saviour for a lot of people during this period, and has also been so developed alongside music in this period, which I think you can either see as a bad thing or as a good thing. I think it's a great thing, to be honest.
It's a great thing, yeah.
I really do. How do you feel about it?
I haven't done much during lockdown, like on a public level, so I'm not really that up to date with the advances. Like I've known VR just from some weird after parties, but it seems like, look, my son's obsessed with gaming, and I've definitely spent at least $11.99 a week for something to do with gaming. Do you know what I mean? But it's something that's kept people happy during a time of absolute sadness. So it can't be a bad thing. I just hope it doesn't. I don't think people are gonna like. There's always, I think there's this thing of, why do you need to go out if you can have it at home?
We don't want it to replace
the
tangibility of being in a club.
But the thing is, I completely understand the fact of, if you can just be at home with your pals, like people you select to be around, why the fuck do you ever need to go out again?
But that's bad news for the nightlife industry.
It's terribly bad news.
Yeah.
But I think, I'm just like, in my head, there's going to be this just huge mad buzz of like just people going mad, mental when we go back out.
Yeah, I'm almost a little bit scared
And which
about my first rave back.
you can't. Magical moments of nightlife, like making new friends in the smoking area, or just, I don't know, just that like that. That's a great example of it, like making new friends.
Hearing a tune for the first time in a crowd.
Yeah,
It's different.
Yeah, get a buzz off just that that electricity, which I don't think can ever be replicated. I want to check out the VR. Like, I haven't done it. I've only used it for stupid fucking dinosaurs, like living with dinosaurs and shit. But it's.
I want to try that one.
It was like a really early thing. Someone got it for my son for Christmas. It was fucking awful. But I could look about and move about.
Yeah.
It was
It's
smashed
pretty
my head on
cool.
doors a couple of times. But it's like we did a test for it for, I think it was a Magnetic Man show or Jesus show or something. They were testing it out in the night, and I think artwork fell off stage or something happened, and he tested it. It was like the Steve Davies. Have you seen the Steve Davies when he's playing snooker with the VR on? And it was that realistic. He goes to lean on the snooker table and falls over. You must have seen it. You've seen it, yeah. Must
I
have
want to see it.
It's like an absolute belter.
Can we cut the clip?
Davies. It's not Steve Davies. It's
Who's it?
no. Who's the mad drinker?
Poker player.
Snooker player. No, snooker player. Mad drinker. Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Okay.
He goes to lean on the table and hits the deck. It's one of the funniest things you've ever seen.
I can't see that one.
But it would be good if you could incorporate the two and everyone using VR in an actual club with the people in front of them, but also with mad imagery around it.
Mm-hmm.
But you could still see if everything was tagged maybe, and you could see everyone in front of you, so you're not all walking into each other.
If it
it would be a mad sight to see.
If they could coexist, I think that would be the
It'd be
ideal
great.
scenario.
It'd be great, but then at the same time, the VR stuff, look, some people can't get to clubs and whatever. So it
becomes more inclusive.
It's never been thought about before, about people who can't rave.
And it also opens it up to a global audience as well.
Yeah, but I think some people's raving days have been taken away from them for one reason or another. I think I'm surprised it hadn't been thought about before. For people who can't get out of the house or can't whatever, it would should be a belter.
Well, I've just got one last thing to ask you about, and that's Banjo Kazooie.
Yeah.
Because earlier on, before we started the interview, we were talking about afters, and we were talking about gaming, and how gaming and music go quite hand in hand sometimes. Do you want to tell us a story about Banjo Kazooie?
Banjo Kazooie, it was a game on the N64, and they were saying about the soundtracks on N64, and it turns out there was the majority of it was a composer from Edinburgh. I've only found that out after for things like this situation. But it was it's part of an afters playlist that I made. It's just from a very interesting time when me and Jack Master had an apartment in 2014 in Ibiza. Everyone would be like, just even hearing that was a possibility, like an existence of us having a gaff together. It was eventful, and there's only so much I can say, but the Banjo Kazooie soundtrack absolutely changed the game for what's possible.
And that's on the Afters playlist.
It's on the Afters playlist, along with a load of other belters. From that summer, it started that the majority of that playlist is from the gaff we had in the summer. And they're all they're tunes that got played at least, not the Banjo Kazooie because it's about 2 and a bit hours, but it was like Luther Vandross, Give Me the Reason, and Dixie's Midnight Runners, Come on Eileen. They were at least like when the sun was coming up, because we had this, you could see out into like the balcony, was in the front room sort of thing, and they're all proper Afters playlists. The Afters playlists, to be fair, have done they do all right. Like I know, especially with the Scottish fans. There's like Scott Brown, Now Is the Time, which is obviously a Scottish anthem, and it's there's only so much I can say about the Banjo Kazooie. I didn't play it, but it was a staple N64 game. There was Banjo Kazooie, GoldenEye. Mario Kart was the big one, but
GoldenEye I remember a lot with the split screen.
Yeah, GoldenEye was like, but it turns out it was the same composer, as far as I'm aware, and a guy from Edinburgh. I follow him on Twitter. We actually were speaking recently. I asked him to do a remix, and it freaked him out. But yeah, it's just, it enhanced the party very much so, especially if we listened to the entire soundtrack. Like
the 8-hour one.
So it was as if you're going through the games and going through the levels. Sorry. So each level has a theme, and there was just a really funny moment with the ghoulish scene. Completely changed the vibe in a good way, in a great way.
Big up Banjo Kazooie. Thanks for the memories.
We was pretending to walk downstairs at one point. Pretending.
Skream. Ollie, I just want to say thank you so much
my
for
love.
having a chat with me today. It's been lovely to see you again.
Always, yeah.
Thank you for...
Hopefully it won't be so long again until the next time.
Hopefully. Yeah. See you in 6 years, mate. No, joking. We'll see each other soon. I'll see you on the virtual dance floor. Good luck for your set.
I need a VR kit.
Yes, so do I. I've been thinking that. How are we going to experience it? I think you can still do it in a computer format, right?
Yeah, you can do it. I think you do it on your phone, do it on everything.
So if you're watching TDV, can we please be gifted 2 virtual headsets? Thank you very much. You've been watching Take Note TV. Than the obvious, fun, dancing, music, what is it about the club scene that makes it so special to people, do you think?
I think it's like a community, isn't it? You know, it's a place where it's a bit of an escapism, where you can just leave your worries at home and just take your mask off and then just enter into the rave, and then you're just a different person. You can just let go and just be whoever you want to be. And I think...
Was there a pun intended there with taking your mask off? Because you're teasing me now. I can't wait for that moment. We can take our mask off and go into the rave.
Yeah, and I think, you know, just meeting people that you know nothing about, but just connecting with them on a level, yeah, it's just amazing.
Let's talk about He, She, They, which is a place where you're a resident at.
Yes.
How long have you been a resident there?
It's been just over a year now, I think. Probably coming up to the second. I met them at IMS in Ibiza a couple of years ago this year. And then I started playing for them about 3 months later at their first party. Yeah, it's the most amazing party brand. You know, they've got a label, a fashion label, house and techno party. Their ethos is no judgment, a party for all. You know, they shine spotlights on marginalised communities, and I just think it's just an amazing thing to be part of.
Tell us about the magic behind He, She, They, and about, like, can you paint a picture? Can you describe a scene for me of a He, She, They party?
It's fucking crazy, that's what it is. It is insane. Like, you go and you look around and at first you're like, where am I? And you're like, this is brilliant. There is all walks of life in there, for every race, gender, everything. And you just feel at home, you just feel welcome, you just feel, you know, just feel part of a family when you go there. The music's great, the people are amazing, there's no judgment, you know, just things from gender-neutral toilets, little things like that, they just consider and they're thoughtful about everything. So yeah, it's great.
It's a magical place.
It is so magical. I advise everybody come to a He, She, They party.
Let's talk about residencies versus new lineups. So a residency at a club is something quite different to where the industry often heads with these brand new, fresh new lineups, new every single time, which is a great thing in itself because we have to allow for newness to come through, and I'm an avid supporter of that myself. But what do you think is beautiful about a residency, and what do you think a residency can achieve that the opposite can't?
I think residencies are, you feel like you belong to a family. I think when you go and see somebody on a regular basis, you kind of have a personal connection with them. You see their journey week in, week out, month for the season that they're playing. And I think you just get that general deeper connection to the artists themselves. And you just know what you're going to get when you walk into that room, the vibe that you're going to get, the emotions that you're going to feel. I just think residencies are just amazing things to have.
Music's always been about unity. It's always been about community, like we were just speaking about. It's about that community feel and uniting people on the dance floor, no matter where they're from and who they are.
Yeah.
All through a shared passion for music and for dance. How do you feel that the industry and fans and music itself can push towards an even more diverse playing field?
Do you know, I think it starts at the top with the promoters. I think they have to be more thoughtful with their lineups, you know, become more diverse on their lineups so we can see that. I think it's scary to think that the younger generation coming through love this music, but they have no idea where the origins start from, you know. A lot of people won't know that the house music started in the black queer community. If you're looking at it from the outside, it looks like it's probably cis white men, because that's all you basically see on lineups. We're not short of talent out there. There's so much. We're not lacking in female DJs. We're not lacking in DJs of colour. So I just think that there's enough talent out there to make diverse, to make lineups as diverse as a standard. You know.
For sure. Yeah, I'm just thinking about it because it's so true. We're not lacking.
We're not lacking. There's
It's just
so
about,
much talent out there.
It's about the people in charge to recognise and to pull that
and
out.
don't just do it because you feel you have to. Just pick any female out of the hat because that's what you
they're
have to do.
female.
Because they're a girl, yeah. So, yeah, you just got to be more thoughtful and just look around at the talent and bring everyone through.
For sure. Let's talk about the pause.
The pause.
The big pause that we're all going through at the moment. The music industry has been on pause for a long time. I mean, many other industries are also on pause.
Yeah.
And like we were saying earlier, it feels like there is a light at the end of the tunnel at the moment. But it's been really difficult, especially for young artists and emerging artists, with the financial pressures and the lack of a creative outlet and not being able to express themselves. What kind of journey have you been through creatively during this pause? Do you think that things have changed compared to yourself from now compared to March?
Yeah, definitely. I feel that I appreciate the smaller things so much more in life. I thought I did anyway, but having time to just reflect and having time to work on myself, because I've had nothing else to do, but to basically go within and just learn stuff about myself. I've learned to be a lot more grateful for the things that I have. I've started producing during the lockdown, which has been amazing. So yeah, it's been a good process for me.
Good.
Yeah.
Started producing.
I did.
Yes. How's that going?
It's going well. It's going well. I'm hoping to get some stuff out over the next couple of months. So yeah.
I'm excited to hear that.
Keep your eyes peeled.
So if anyone out there was watching us now, listening to what we have to say, and they were just considering and just beginning a career in the music industry, and they're seeing how many people are considering leaving the music industry and changing jobs because there's not much promise at the moment, what would you say to the ones who really want to hold out and stick to that dream and carry on going and pushing for it?
I think definitely hold out. Obviously, there's no certainty in this industry at the moment, but if you're passionate about being in the music industry, then follow your dreams. If COVID has taught us anything, it's that life's too short and things can be taken away from you in an instant. So you could go and change and work in a 9-to-5 that you hate, and that job still be taken away from you. So you might as well follow the path that you love, and yeah, I think it'll just be better that way.
So moved, honestly. That was a good one. Do you have plans to produce music? You've already answered this one. You're producing music currently at the moment.
Yeah.
But what have you been doing tech-wise? There's so many options at the moment. There's so much new technology and software at the moment.
There is so much, and it's baffling just looking at it all, because I'm still confused, to be fair, when I look at it all. I have Logic and I have Ableton, but I found the workflow with Ableton was better for me. I bought Ableton Push, and that's just made it so much more exciting because you're just hands-on and you're kind of like tapping in everything. I have plugins that I have that are my favourite, like Rob Papham. I'm a bass girl, so the bass on that has just been amazing. I'm just, literally every day I'm just learning new things. I'm at my laptop, at my computer, just 10 hours a day, just going crazy. But yeah, it's been fun and frustrating, but it's worth it.
Good.
Yeah.
It can be tough to phase of a music career, even throughout. It can be financially tough for a very long time. There's very little job protection in working in music. How do you suggest young artists manage pursuing a career in music as well as financially supporting themselves?
I think it's quite important to have a financial stability. I feel that you should take that plunge when you know that you're going to have a stable income in the music career. Like, I gave my full-time job up in January to pursue music full-time, and that's because I knew that there would be a regular income coming through, otherwise I wouldn't. I kind of had a full-time job and then I dwindled it down to like 3 days, then 2 days, and then I was like, right, I'm ready. So I think you should definitely have a means to support yourself, because you can't be creative if you're constantly worrying about where your money's coming from. So definitely have a backup plan to keep you going.
How did it feel making the jump?
Shit scary. I think I put it off so many times, and I kept telling myself, oh, I'll just do it next month, I'll just do it next month, because it's just, that's it. You're out on your own then, and you've got to make it. But I think it gives you more of a drive and more of a passion to do well. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened.
And then COVID happened.
Yeah.
I always think there's that change that happens in you when you decide to call yourself something.
Yeah.
So when you're like, I am a DJ.
Yeah.
And it's scary, right?
It
The first
is.
time it comes out of your mouth, or you're like, I'm a presenter, or any avenue you pursue in music.
Yeah.
But it's important to do that.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
For real. Gaming. Let's talk about gaming. Because
oh dear.
I hear, a little bird told me that you used to be a bit of a gaming addict.
I used to love gaming. Gaming was just like, oh, I can't even explain. You just immerse yourself into another character, and you have to play this role, and that is you. You are, like, I'm doing this because obviously it's Call of Duty, you have to be this person, this other person. You have to, you feel like this is you. And literally, I've got up with Faye. Sorry, Faye's my partner. I've got up in the morning when she's gone to work, and I've put the computer on. I've started playing games. I've moved the sofa closer to the TV, and right, I'm ready for this day. And then she's come home like 12 hours later, and I'm still in this same position. So yeah, gaming is amazing, but there comes a point where you have to choose between the gaming and your wife. So yeah, you know where that went.
Good choice.
Yeah. Right?
What's your go-to game, though? Obviously, Call of Duty.
Yeah, Call of Duty was
else?
my... God of War was another one. I love, like, sports games as well. So, yeah, just everything. I'm just anything that I can just be an adrenaline junkie with.
What do you hope to experience with this event in particular, with Tobacco Doc Virtual? It's an event in a full VR setting. It looks visually amazing. What do you hope people can get from your set in particular?
I just hope they have as much fun as I did.
Hey.
I had a great time playing that set. It was amazing. So I hope that they have as much fun as me. I mean, it's the next best thing to raving, because, I did one similar at Christmas, and me and my flatmates, like, we made avatars, and you get to choose your clothes and hooves, and it's literally, you can have conversations with the next person on the dance floor. It's basically like being in the rave, but you're just not physically there. So I think it's amazing. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it as well, man. I can't wait.
It's going to be so
good.
cool,
I haven't done one yet.
Oh my God.
So that sounds fun.
Yeah, they're brilliant.
It's like
Wait till
gaming.
you do it.
So obviously there's a craving for live events at the moment.
Yeah.
Like in a big way. I mean, I hope that everybody's craving it as much as we are.
Yeah, definitely.
And we're moving towards bringing that back. What do you think these VR experiences can satisfy while we wait? Do you think they can satisfy any sort of part of us while we wait?
I think they can, to an extent, as I said, because it's the next best thing to it. You get the options of being able to talk to the person next to you. You can go up to the DJ. You can dance on the stage. You can basically do what you would do in a club. So it is satisfying to a degree, but it's never going to be the same, is it? To be fair, never going to be the same. But it's great. It's definitely great.
Thank you so much,
You're welcome.
Syreeta.
Thank you for having me.
It's been lovely to meet you and to chat to you today. Looking forward to your sets.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Likewise. It's going to be amazing, right?
It's going to be wicked.
Can't wait.
You've been watching Take Note TV. I'm Emerald. This was Syreeta, and we'll see you soon. See you later.
I pride myself on having manners. Always saying please. I mean, I'm a joker. I like to joke around, but ultimately, you know, I like to give people respect. I think you treat people the way you expect to be treated yourself. And Japanese people, they always have a smile on their face, whether you bump into them in the street or bump into them in a nightclub or whatever altercation you might have with them. You can see that they always have a lot of respect for themselves and for others as well. I think a lot of people should, you know, embrace that and implement that into their own system as well. Konnichiwa. Hi guys, I'm Hot Since 82 and welcome to my Even Deeper tour. This time we're on a little island in the Pacific and we're in Japan. Even Deeper is a concept that allows me to spend more time in the country. Usually when I'm on tour, I usually stay for a week or even less and don't really see anything other than the airport and the hotels or the taxis. So I get a chance to play more shows, try more food and see more landmarks of each individual city. The first Even Deeper, we chose Mexico. First of all, I love the culture, I love playing there, I love the sunshine, I love the food. And it just so happened to drop on the time that Mexico was getting a little bit of bad press. So since then, we've had a lot of overwhelming response back, showing support, obviously, for the country of Mexico. I've been getting a lot of people coming to the shows. It's been very rewarding for me personally as well. So after discussing where to take the Even Deeper tour next, Japan was the obvious choice. A place rich in history and culture. Unlike Mexico, Japan has a small clubbing scene, especially on the underground, whereas other places in the world I could be playing to 1,000 people or 20,000. Here in Japan, I'm playing to a room of 100 to 200 people, so it's very different, very challenging as well. We're always catching planes to and from, and planes stress me out. In fact, actually, it's not the flight time that annoys me. It's just the rigmarole of going through security, taking all this off, you know, taking all your liquids out. It's very time-consuming, and it zaps a lot of your energy as well. So, having the high-speed bullet train here in Japan is just glorious, really. And not only that, you get to see the beautiful landscapes and just parts of the country, whether it be in Japan or anywhere else on a train, that you're never ever going to see if you're on a plane. Kanpai. Kanpai. Yeah. Kanpai. Kanpai. Kanpai, motherfuckers. So we're here in Nagoya, which is regarded as the third biggest city in Japan. And tonight I'm going to be playing for the first time in a little club, 200 capacity, called JB's. It's a long-standing club that's been here for around 20 years, actually, so pretty excited for that. And in the meantime, stocking up on some traditional Japanese food and some amazing sashimi. It's probably the best tuna that we've had all week. Really good. What up? The house and techno scene used to be a lot stronger here. I remember when I first started DJing in the late 90s and seeing mixtapes from Sasha and John Digweed, live from places like Womb and Yellow in Tokyo. But I guess now the scene is filled with more commercial music like J-pop and EDM. A lot of people in Japan work very, very long hours. So you see people on the dance floor still in their suits, still in their work uniforms, just dancing away, whether they're with friends or whether they're, you know, on their own, just raving, closing their eyes and really feeling the music and just having a good time. Oh, shit. Oh, shit, son. Sorry, guys. I guess what I love about Japan more than anywhere else is how everyone seems to be happy and polite, and it looks like everybody treats everybody with a lot of compassion and kindness. And I guess that's quite a unique thing in the society that we live in now. It's just a nice place, I guess, in the world to be. Like I said, everyone's happy and kind, and that's a good thing. So after a few days downtime in Tokyo, we decided to do a spontaneous pop-up party, which was a huge success. These kind of pop-up parties attract maybe a lot more different kind of people that you would usually get on a Saturday night in a club. A lot of industry people from the music scene, a lot of fashion people, and a lot of ravers from around the world as well. I like your pants, they're cool, cosmic. So as well as the pop-up party, on my days off, we managed to catch up with an old friend. Actually, he was the first person to bring me out here around 6 years ago. And his lovely wife, Fumi, decided to cook for us. We had a beautiful home-cooked meal, which is always nice. Always good to get outside the hotels and see some real life as well, see a real-life Japanese home. I love that, just the look of tofu excites me. Most people think tofu is like bland because it's obviously not so big in the UK. And I think being British, all our cuisine is very hearty. Lots of sauces, gravy and things like that go along with the vegetables. So all the sauces drown the vegetables so you never really taste it. Obviously out here everything's prepared more delicately. Spit it out. Yeah. So yeah, I've quit the music scene and I'm now making home cooking programs. I love cooking, that's all I do at home. You know, when I return home, I'm in the kitchen all the time. It's the best, it's relaxing. I was served this the other day for the first time and I didn't actually eat it. And that's unusual for me because I will basically eat anything. And yeah, this lovely lady has served it for us, so I'm gonna eat it. So, kanpai.
Oh, wait, another one.
Sorry.
Another one, you missed it.
I guess as cliche as it sounds, food and music together makes people happy. I'm obsessed with both. We went to see a sushi master the other day, a beautiful restaurant, and I was watching him rather closely, the way he prepared the food. There wasn't any set menu, which I kind of liked, and food just kept coming and coming, and it was kind of, I guess in a way, it was freestyling with the food. He gets the ingredients, and I guess he sees the look on our face, and then he keeps going. You know, if the look on our face is good, then he keeps going with, you know, the ingredients that he has. And I guess in another way, music's like that as well. I play music to the dance floor and I'm looking to see if people are enjoying it. If they're enjoying it, I keep going and progressing with that kind of sound. If I turn around and they're not, then I pedal back a little bit. And I guess chefs, especially in Japan, I like that as well. When there's no set menu, it's more adventurous and exciting. Well, I think like Asian culture is a very zen culture where they obviously meditate quite heavily out here. It's very relaxed and it's quite a symbolic kind of picturesque image, isn't it? When you think of like bonsai trees or, you know, Japanese gardens are always very elegant and very exquisite in many ways and very perfect, I guess. Everything's, well, there's no stone left unturned, it's just a picturesque picture. And I'm staring at it right now and it's very beautiful. So this is Nalu, and this is Now, two locals that have been showing me around Osaka today. And Now is actually the resident DJ at the club, and he's going to be playing before me as well. So I guess, you know, what kind of music do you prefer to play in the club, and especially when you're warming up for an international DJ coming over?
どういうシーンで、どういう意気込みでされますか？
今日は、僕のパーティーでもあって、それの3周年なので、みんなを楽しませる、テクノからハウス、テックハウス、ディープハウス、いろいろなのをかけたらミックスしたいと思ってます。
Yeah, pretty similar to what I play, I guess. I like to, you know, put a bit of everything in the mixer, I guess. So it's lovely to be finishing the tour in Takamatsu, just getting out of the city. Most people think of Japan as this huge megatropolis, like kind of crazy wacky place, but they don't actually realise that it's got beautiful surroundings, beautiful nature, amazing fish that are only, you know, that only swim and can be fished in these areas. And just looking behind us now, it's just absolutely stunning. Sunset. Yeah, feeling very blessed, and just nice to get some fresh air and wrap this tour up. It's been amazing. Arigatou gozaimasu. That's right.
How real did it feel? It felt very real. Pure skill. Yo, what's going on? It's your boy, Jamal Edwards. And I actually can't wait to get into the VR world of other people and be cutting some shapes and that. It's gonna be sick. Let's see what all this fuss is about, man. Whoa, shit! Hey, this is mad. I feel like I'm Raiden in Mortal Kombat. So my first experience of TDV was like an experience I've never had before. She's fully dancing. How do I dance? How am I looking? How am I looking? It was pretty sick. I didn't know what to expect, to be fair, but it's unreal. It's unreal. I love like the fusion between tech, music, and I think that is spot on. This guy's doing like a handstand and that. What's he doing? Like when you walk into Tobacco Dots, you walk in and you show your tickets. Like it felt so real. I'm a TDV, which is Tobacco Dot Veteran. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like nuts to actually see it in sort of a VR perspective. Why is this entertaining me so much? I think what you can get from a VR music event is that, I don't know, like, obviously we're in this like crazy time at the moment, so I think safety within your house, for example, but I don't know, I think it just gives you like connectivity, you might be able to see people, and I think I was with people that were in the States, do you know what I'm saying? So I might be in a rave with someone from another part of the world, and I think that is like pretty mind-blowing, to be fair. Oh shit! Hey, watching myself is jokes. I think this is a symbiotic process, which means it is like a collaborative sort of like dimension. So I feel like gamers will come to it, music people will come to it, and it'll just be like a mesh of everything. So I think that's I don't think like one side gains more. I think it's like quite open and yeah, it's just nuts. Like I don't know how to explain it. It's nuts. Oh, whoa, shit! It's like I just jumped out my body. I'd love to see how having an actual live event, but then you can get into the VR world as well. I love the collaboration of different worlds, and it's like merging what's real and what's not. Like that's just a whole nother level, and I feel like mixing music with tech, it just allows the game to pioneer even more and just be able to reach out and do more things as well. If I was speaking to my mates and I had to tell them what to expect from virtual reality space, I'd definitely say expect the unexpected, but it's mad. You'll be able to go into a place and bump into your mates, see people from across the world. Might even see a giraffe running past you. My man, there's a giraffe. What's going on? The world is just so customizable and like pioneering and just mind-blowing. It's just like, whoa, whoa. You know what I'm saying? It's like, whoa. Do you know what I'm saying? Like knock you off your chair, whoa. I want other people to experience it. Like, I'm very grateful to have experienced this. Do you know what I'm saying? But I want to see what other people think. Come on, TDV in the building, you know what I'm saying? TDV, love it. I love the pioneering moves, man. Evaluate the situation, improve on it, and then pioneer. Sick. Hey, lightsaber. Vroom, vroom. Oh my God. I can't wait to start raving VR style. I'm ready. When's the rave?